Welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to be slicing up your designs with Simplify3D. Now, this is a paid slicer software. Really just be your own best judge if you think that you want to purchase a slicer. I was actually given this license for free because I'm a YouTuber, but it is very nice and there's some things you can do, but the free softwares like Cura and Prusa Slicer are actually really, really good. So I would recommend just doing those slicers at first and getting used to it if you're new. And then if you want to eventually purchase a slicer, then maybe look into Simplify3D. But I think you can do most of the same things with the free ones. But if there's something special that Simplify3D can do for you, then, by all means, go ahead and get a license. So let's bring in our designs. Just hit import here. And just navigate to your STLs folder, and we can just shift click on all of the designs we made in Blender and do open. And so now we've got all of our monkeys in here. And again, if you are interested in learning more about slicer settings, it's very important for 3D printers to know, but I like to just focus on design. So that's why I teamed up with my buddy Ed over at the Institute of 3D Printing. And he has amazing courses on all kinds of slicers: Cura, Prusa Slicer, Simplify3D. He's got beginner, intermediate, and expert lessons. I've taken a bunch of them, and it's really, really, really helped me dial in my settings and starting to get really, really good prints. So highly recommend that. If you're interested, I'll put a link in the description below. And let's see if that helps you out. But for today, we're just going to show you a quick overview. So we've got our designs in here, and let me scroll these out here, and let's just kind of replace these. I made the monkeys a little too big, so I'm just going to hold Control and left click and bring these designs in just like we did. Just kind of put them all here on the 3D printer, kind of stacked in here. And I wouldn't recommend printing all these at once. I mean, you definitely can if you feel comfortable with your 3D printer, but I would suggest maybe just picking one of these designs you want and printing them, each one at a time, or just printing your favorite one, So here we have all of our designs. I'm going to nudge them around just a little bit more to make sure they're all fitting in here. We want them close to the edge, but not too close to the edge. That way the printer won't have as much trouble printing. I'm just kind of clicking and moving these around as need be. Usually you can do Control R and that will arrange all of them, but the software is saying these are supposed to be too big and they shouldn't fit in the print bed, but they are. So I just made them fit. And that's, don't be scared to do stuff like that. Once you kind of start understanding your printer more and more, let's break these conventions, guys. We can do whatever we want. Just try stuff and see what happens. So now we've got them all. Make sure there's none touching each other. So, nothing's touching, and that's good. And now we can slice them up. So to check your settings, you can add a printer profile. And I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I'm assuming most of you have already gotten your printer kind of dialed in. If not, like I said, you can take Ed's classes and get your printer dialed in, because there's so many different types of printers. It would take a long time for me to cover every single one and all the differences. But the basics, you want just kind of a 20% infill. We're using PLA on a CR10, and the layer height, or the resolution, is 0.2. And you can do like 2 or 3 shells. That's just like how many times the printer is going to go around the edges of your designs. So I'll just do 2. And that's looking pretty good. You can add some infill, if you want to change your infill type. Maybe I'm going to do wiggle. And we don't need any rafts, which are just little plates that are going to help the object stick to the bed, or any supports, because we are printing without supports. So let's go ahead and try that and prepare for print. And that now it will slice up the STLs and turn them into G-code. So like I was saying before, it's kind of like a translator that's translating your 3-dimensional objects into a language or code that your printer can then understand and spit out hot molten plastic. So that's kind of what's happening here under the hood if you're brand new to 3D printing. I know most of you already know this, but just in case we have any new people who are not familiar with this process. So now it's going to process this and really crunch out the data. And then there we go. Now we've got, this one says it's going to take 28 hours. I don't believe that, but maybe it will. So now we can just scrub through, and there we go. It's looking pretty cool. We've got some nice 3D printed Suzanne monkey heads that will all just appear bloop, like that. And then you can pop them off your 3D print bed and, put them around your house or make other stuff. But this is mainly just to show you the overall 3D print workflow, how to take one design, repair it, and put tons of different effects on it to make some really crazy stuff within a few minutes or few hours. And then, so once you've got your files here, then we could just say export, and that would send this G code. You can save it anywhere you want, to like a USB thumb drive or to, something that you can then stick into your printer and, enable that project. So you can name it anything you want and send it on over. Usually what I'll do is create a new folder called G code, and then I'll just save those. We could just call it all monkeys. And then that's going to save it as a G code, and we'll just save it. And now we would just send that file to the printer, and our printer would print it out. So that is all for the FDM slicers. Next, we're going to talk about how to slice up these monkeys for resin printers. If any of you out there have the SLA printers or DLP printers that use light curing and resin, very cool, very high quality prints. Let's go ahead and dive on in it.